I'm Rob Lacrone.
And I'm Marlena Bond.
With NewsWrap, a summary of some of the news in or affecting LGBTQ communities around the world for the week ending November 16, 2019. The arrest of almost 130 people in a bar raid this week marked a new high in the ongoing oppression of LGBTQ people in Uganda. Armed police officers entered Kampala's Ram Bar early in the morning of November 11th and took people into custody for causing a public nuisance and for smoking an illegal substance called shisha. That's a common recreational vaporized mixture of tobacco often combined with other flavors and ingredients. The bar patrons were herded into the street, into the glare of TV cameras and newspaper photographers. They were then taken to a maximum security prison. The Ram Bar is a rare but well-known welcoming venue for LGBTQ people to party in the Ugandan capital and feel relatively safe on Sunday nights. Police authorities claim to have been unaware of the clientele. They say they were simply enforcing the East African nation's Tobacco Control Act, which outlaws smoking with a shisha water pipe. LGBTQ activists say it's simply the latest anti-queer action by Ugandan authorities. Activist Raymond Karuhanga told Reuters that they just want to silence us as a community. Frank Mugisha of the advocacy group Sexual Minorities Uganda told The Voice of America he thinks it's totally aimed at intimidation of the LGBTQ community. In a press release from the queer rights group Outright Action International, activist Kasha Jacqueline charged Ugandan authorities with inventing new ways to harass the community. Jacqueline said, "Using trumped-up drug charges is a new and frightening tactic, one which is really hard to tackle and will make our battle even tougher."
67 of the Ram Bar arrestees were formally charged later in the week. Activist attorney Patricia Chimera says that they face up to a year in prison. The remaining detainees were determined to not have been illegally smoking shisha and were released. The Ram Bar raid comes less than a month after Kampala police raided a gay man's HIV/AIDS education group that had gathered at a hotel. 16 men were charged with carnal knowledge against the order of nature and forced to undergo painful anal exams. That's a medically discredited method to supposedly confirm gay sexual activity. Global human rights groups call it torture. The punishment in Uganda for private, consensual adult gay sex can be up to life in prison. The latest assault on the human rights of LGBTQ Ugandans comes after months of on-again, off-again reports that the country's infamous Kill the Gays bill was going to be reintroduced in Parliament. The original 2014 version of the bill carried the death sentence for aggravated homosexuality. It was only struck down on a legal technicality. Activists believe its rumored return is in part responsible for at least 4 brutal murders of people who were perceived to be LGBTQ.
It was a much different story this week in the Eastern European nation of Georgia. Riot police clashed with hundreds of far-right nationalists and cross-carrying conservative churchgoers outside a Tbilisi movie theater at the premiere of a gay-themed film. And Then We Danced is a Georgian-Swedish co-production, filmed guerrilla style, entirely in the former Soviet Republic. It's described as a coming-of-age gay romance between 2 young male Georgian ballet dancers. Leaders of the Orthodox Church and right-wing groups condemned the film well ahead of its premiere as sinful and gay propaganda. And Then We Danced received much acclaim at Cannes in May and has won awards at several film festivals around the world, including Chicago, Sarajevo, and Odessa. Sweden has already named it as its official entry for next year's Oscars. Tickets to the limited run in Tbilisi and other Georgian cities sold out quickly. Several anti-queer protesters tried to force their way into the theater in Tbilisi on November 8th. Others set fire to a rainbow flag and threw firecrackers and smoke bombs around the entrance. 2 police officers were hurt in several skirmishes with the protesters. A young journalist was also injured. Police reportedly arrested up to 25 protesters for hooliganism and disobeying police orders. Even though gay sex is not illegal in Georgia, societal taboos keep many LGBTQ people in the closet. Levin Akin is the 39-year-old writer and director of And Then We Danced. Born in Sweden to Georgian parents, Akin posted on Facebook that it is absurd that people who bought tickets need to be brave and risk getting harassed or even assaulted just for going to see a film.
The organizers of Hong Kong's annual LGBTQ Pride Parade were denied the right to march at the last minute. This as often violent street protests over government suppression there continue. Organizer Yo Wai told the South China Morning Post that the police have been clamping down on freedom. Sexual minorities are no exception. Yo said that this was the first time since the first Hong Kong Pride Parade was held in 2008 that police have banned the event. A crowd of 12,000 people saw Hong Kong politicians and foreign delegations march with drag performers and other costumed celebrants at last year's colorful parade. Organizers this year were only told on November 14th that their November 16th event would be limited to a rally at Edinburgh Place in the city center, where the parade was supposed to end kicking off at Victoria Park. A police ban on street protesters wearing masks will also impede Pride. It's not uncommon for closeted participants to wear masks to conceal their identities, so they won't be able to participate, even if it's just a static rally. Hong Kong's only openly gay lawmaker is Raymond Chan Chi-chan. He says that banning the always peaceful and inclusive Pride Parade has nothing to do with the current political unrest. Chan asked, "Does this mean the city will no longer have any marches now?"
5 men were caned for consensual adult gay sex in Malaysia. An Islamic court near Kuala Lumpur sentenced 4 of them to 6 strokes of the cane and 7 to another for attempting intercourse against the order of nature. The 4 men will also spend 6 months in jail and pay a fine equivalent to about $1,200 US. The 5th man will pay almost $2,000 and go to jail for 7 months. According to local news outlets, sentencing for 5 other men arrested in the same November 2018 apartment raid near the capital will be on November 19th. It's double jeopardy for consensual adult same-gender sex in Muslim-majority Malaysia. Muslims can be punished by both Islamic and secular courts for illicit sexual acts. Canings are a regular form of punishment under Islamic law. 2 women were arrested last year and also found guilty of attempted sex. Each suffered 6 strokes of the cane in a public courtroom. A queer popular nightclub in Kuala Lumpur was also raided last year, with detainees forced to undergo what was cryptically described as counseling. An Amnesty International media statement said that people should not live in fear because of who they are and who they love.
Finally, where would you not expect to see a big drag queen wearing a huge blonde wig and a red vinyl mini dress? At the first day of open U.S. House hearings on the impeachment of Donald Trump, the U.S. president is being investigated for a number of offenses. Chief among them in this round is his allegedly withholding congressionally mandated military aid from Ukraine. Trump is accused of pressuring Ukraine's new president to announce an investigation into widely debunked corruption allegations against Trump political rival Joe Biden and his son. PC Miles was sent to cover the impeachment proceedings for a startup news app called Haps. According to the Asbury Park, New Jersey performer's bio, Ms. Miles is an award-winning drag performer and comedy producer who makes regular appearances at New York City gay bars. She has also been featured on RuPaul's What's the Tea podcast. Miles' husband and business partner, David Alon, told NBC News that Haps was looking for a comedian who could improv on the spot and deliver the news in a fun way. NBC News correspondent Heidi Prisbilla tweeted, "Someone did ask me last night if there's anything in D.C. that surprises me anymore." C-SPAN televised Miles going through Capitol Hill security as a guard waved a metal detector wand around her sizable bouffant. It cannot be denied that she stood out among the mostly dark gray and blue-suited congressional male staff. Miles told the New York Post that, "I did not think I would be the most interesting thing here today."
That's NewsWrap, Global Queer News with Attitude, for the week ending November 16th, 2019. Follow the news in your area and around the world. An informed community is a strong community.
NewsWrap is written by Greg Gordon, edited by Lucia Chappelle, produced by Brian DeShazer and Marlena Bond, recorded at the studios of KPFK Los Angeles, and brought to you by you.
Help keep us in ears around the world at thiswayout.org, where you can also read the text of this newscast and much more.
And you can listen to NewsWrap each week by subscribing to our This Way Out Radio YouTube channel. For This Way Out, I'm Marlena Bond.
And I'm Rob LaCrone.